and welcome to Body Confidence with MRS.GLOBE. I am ALICIA PLOSZ, MRS.GLOBE, and welcome to Body Confidence, where we learn to embrace thy beautiful selves, whatever that looks like. Happy Wednesday. So for me, it is 10 a.m. in Canada. I am on the western part of Canada in Alberta. And where are you joining us from today? So today, Wednesday, it is the middle of the week. I love Wednesdays. It's like a little reboot for me. I love being here and logging on with you guys in the morning. For me, it's morning for wherever you're from. Where are you from? Please let me know. Post down where you're from. Our guest today is also from Canada. She'll be joining us from the East Coast, so it's going to be afternoon for her. So for me, it is morning, and then for her it'll be afternoon, and I'm still on my coffee. Oh, Chrissy, I love you too. And Chrissy is morning, Saskatchewan, yes, Canada represent. So for you, it is morning as well. And Australia, oh my goodness. So Australia, Rachel, where is that time zone for you right now? What time of the day is it for you? I'm just curious. I always love it because, like, for me, I start my day, I get up, I get ready, and then I jump on here. And so my day is just starting. And then sometimes people are like, oh, I'm having my glass of wine. It's my evening. I'm enjoying the sunset. And I'm like, oh, I love that. I love that we get to connect globally because of the internet. Like, how amazing is that? 2 a.m. Oh, good for you for being awake and being on here with us. I love that. Thank you for joining us. That's so exciting. So I met Rachel in China this past year, prior to COVID, prior when we could still travel. And that's so cool. It's noon in Bahamas. Okay, that's cool. Oh, that's amazing. Thanks everyone for coming on today and being here with us. So our guest today is going to be Linda Rose, and she is the general manager of Mary Kay Cosmetics here in Canada. And she is a powerhouse, beautiful, amazing soul. And I'm excited for when she joins on. She's not quite on yet, and that is totally... She's going to jump on when she gets here, and that's great. And I'm just going to do a little bit of chitty chatting before she gets on anyway. So today we're talking about body confidence. That is the show that we talk about. But on Mondays with Dr. Tracy, she is away right now. She got away to Greece right before it all happened. She couldn't get away, and now she did get away. So her show is a little bit postponed. So Linda is going to log on, but I'm just letting you know that on Mondays, Dr. Tracy's show is going to be postponed for a little while because she's in Greece and the time zone is different now. So she's going to be a little bit taking a little accent from her show. Hi, Linda. How are you?
Hi, Alicia. I'm great.
Good. That was easy that you got on?
Yes, it was fine.
It's easy. Perfect.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, I know everyone's always like, I don't know how to do it, and it's easy. I'm going to back up a little bit.
Exactly.
How's your it's afternoon for you? It was exciting.
The sun's shining. It's great. Everything's perfect.
It's noon. I was just talking to Rachel, one of the girls that's on here, said it's 2 a.m. in Australia she's watching from. And then Chrissy's on from Saskatchewan. One of the people said it's noon in Bahamas. I'm like, I was always curious to where everyone's watching from today. So it's exciting.
That's amazing.
I know. I'm still on my coffee. It's still morning for me, so I wasn't sure. I always love to see where everyone's watching from. So I just introduced you a tiny bit. So I'm just going to do a really quick introduction. Is that okay? Okay. So Linda Rose, you are the general manager of Mary Kay Cosmetics. You're here in Canada. You're in Toronto and Mississauga, local too. You are also direct seller, DSA, the Direct Selling Association Board of Canada. You are a member of the Look Good Feel Better program.
Yep.
You are a charter member of It Starts With One and the Diversity Council in Canada, right? And those are both. Those ones? The last two I said those are both new.
Yes, very new. Yeah,
okay.
Very new. So the Diversity Council we started in Canada just recently, and It's One works with entrepreneurs in Africa and around the world, helping them to get started in business.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
And those ones are strictly in Canada, or are they globally? Those two.
Well, they operate globally, but I'm part of the Canadian chapters. Okay,
cool. Because the Look Good Feel Better program is affiliated with Mary Kay, but Mary Kay globally.
Well, no, actually, Look Good Feel Better in Canada. So I'm the chair of the Look Good Feel Better for Canada. So this is really the Canadian charter. There are Look Good Feel Betters around the world, but I help to run the Canadian end of it.
Okay, Perfect. I just wanted to clarify, just in case anybody else is watching, if they want to know, more information on it, they can definitely look into it in their country or their region. So I just wanted to clarify, because they're all amazing individual groups that help different dynamics.
It's all
right?
about women, right? It's all about helping women.
Yes, and why they're empower everyone where you can, when you can, right?
Exactly.
So you are a very multi-talented person, because you're a manager at Mary Kay, and you're also a champion for women, and that's amazing. And I'm excited to have you here on the Miss Globe IGTV with me. So I know you from Mary Kay, from the general manager, mentor of many, champion of women, and so you believe very much in Mary Kay, in the philosophies of faith first, family second, career third, and so I'm just going to lead into my first question with this. So you fill up others and breathe belief into them. And so my first question to you is, how have you managed to maintain personal and body confidence for you, Linda Rose, as a woman, while standing up and getting on stage to motivate thousands of women, but still maintaining who you are? Because it's hard to be confident and then give confidence. How have you been able to do that?
Well, you know, I think like every woman out there, sometimes it's tough. Some days are easier than others. Some days it feels very natural and you're comfortable in your own skin. And then other days you're like, yeah, I'm not feeling this confidence that I'm projecting. And I think, you know, what I try to do to the best of my ability is to always focus on the other individual. But I think what I want to say to the women is that it's normal to have those moments where you're not feeling as confident and that you're not feeling as good about yourself. But I think as I've gotten older, as my body has changed, I try to look at the internal side of me, and I'm making sure that I'm filling up that component. And I think sometimes the advice of our company founder, which is when you focus on your faith, your family, and your career, it helps you to have that balance, and then you become less centered on yourself. So, you know, I think by focusing on others, it has been a great advantage to me, always trying to fill my cup, making sure that I take time for me. And then with age, learning that my body is not a reflection of who I am, and that I'm okay the way I am. Could I do better? Yeah, absolutely. Do I sometimes eat emotionally? Yeah, probably do. But it's not a reflection of the core of my soul and who I am as a woman.
Right. So practice makes progress, right? We don't strive for perfection.
Exactly.
It's true. And a lot of that is age, because in your 20s, you don't respect yourself. We had this conversation on the phone. You don't respect yourself in your 20s. You don't appreciate yourself, and you don't appreciate your soul. It's all physical. It's all emotional, because you're at your beginnings, you were a model prior to. Yeah. So a lot of it's image based, right? It's not emotional based.
Yeah, I mean, now I'd love to go back to the point in time in my 20s when I thought I was fat. I'd give anything to be that weight again.
Right.
You know, it's your perception. And, you know, I think for me, and I, as I said to you, I'm very honest about this. I was sexually abused as a child from about 4 to 6. And that had a profound effect on my body image. It had a profound effect on how I viewed myself. And it took a lot of healing and a lot of loving and a lot of growing and learning. And so sometimes that emotional component comes out in me because it still triggers and it still has that effect. And I think I've certainly learned that in my role, that so many women go through this. So many women, unfortunately, have been abused or have been verbally abused, or however that abuse manifests itself. And sometimes that comes out in our body image and in that deserve level. So it's something, and if I'm being honest, I've battled my whole life, and it's something I continue to battle. But you just have to keep persevering and know that you are more than that shell. And as I continue to work on my growth and my personal growth, I continue to evolve and become a better mom, wife, hopefully leader.
Mm-hmm. Well, for sure, this isn't, and it's not something that every single person will relate to watching this, but it's a very unique reconnection to self that women who survive abuse, they have to regain their power back. You have to, and it's something that you have to do daily. It's not something that, oh, I overcame that. It's never an overcoming. It's a growing and evolving, because you never know what's going to trigger you, right? And
exactly.
So, right?
Yeah, every
and
day's different, right? And there's days when you know that you're really on it and you've got it and you're moving forward. And there's other days where you do struggle. And what I try to do on the days that I struggle is really ask myself, what can I learn from this in this moment? Why am I feeling this way? What's the emotion that has triggered me? And trying to do that differently.
do you have like a specific tool or an inner dialogue that you've created to strengthen like your inner self that you could share some maybe?
One thing that has been very helpful, I get up every day at 5 a.m. and certainly in our Mary Kay world, our founder talked about that. She talked about the 5 a.m. club and how it makes you more prepared for the day. So I get up every day at 5 a.m. and I spend a lot of time in meditation. And that's something fairly new that I've started and has been so, so helpful. And I remember when I first started it, it was difficult for me to sit still for 1 or 2 minutes. I mean, every thought was going through my mind. I couldn't focus. And as it's evolved, the people that were involved in it said, don't even worry what goes through your minds. Just sit quietly in peace for a few minutes. And it's, you know, I'm worked up. I'm probably about 15, 20 minutes now where I can truly just kind of relax and just think. And the clarity that comes from that and being comfortable in my own skin has been really powerful. My new puppy has helped me a lot because I get out in the morning then and I do my walking with him or her, and that makes me feel really peaceful. So as weird as it is, time alone is my reconnector. And that's where I reconnect with my soul and with who I am. And it helps to prepare me and it helps to kind of quiet me. So I'm very much an early morning person. I would suggest it to anybody. I often have this saying that you need to go to bed in the same day. Sometimes we tend to stay up late and we think we're going to get more done and we're not always more effective. So I find that the morning really grounds me into my day and it makes me ready and I'm eager. So for me, the meditation has been huge and the walking. And there's so many guided meditations that you can use and that are really powerful that I know have helped me.
It's like a recharge. My husband always says he's an IT guy, so it's like when in doubt, reboot, right? Like when in doubt, reboot. So it's true, you need a reboot. And so to start, it's almost like you have to disconnect to reconnect, right?
Exactly. You know,
Yeah.
and different people recharge differently. I mean, some people, I've discovered very quickly over the last few years that I'm an introvert. And you would think in my role that I tend to be an extrovert. Well, that's work. And I'm absolutely, when I'm with the field, I'm an extrovert. I want to be with them. I want to know what's going on. But how do I recharge? And I recharge through being quiet. That's what works for me. And then when I have that time, and I think for so many women, it's important that you carve out that time, figure out what works best for you. Because I do know that if I don't recharge, I'm not good for anybody. I'm not good for the field. I'm not good in my day-to-day role. I'm not as focused as a mom. So that recharge for me is absolute key.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes people think you have to like share and maybe get help from others to reconnect, but sometimes you just need to get it from yourself. You just need to sit quietly and listen to your own thoughts and hear your own words repetitively. And it's true, meditation is really hard. It's hard for me too. And it's because sometimes I just like sit there and all of a sudden my grocery list is going through my head or random things, or because you don't know, but it takes a little while, and then after there you get your little aha moments.
Right.
And I always leave there feeling a little bit, you have to get that stuff out sometimes too, right? You have to.
Yeah, I think when somebody told me that meditation doesn't have to be perfect, like I thought I had to go into this Zen moment that I was going to have perfect reflection and voices were going to speak to me. And she's like, no, sometimes, exactly that. Your grocery list is coming across. But the fact that you took time for yourself is the best gift that you can give yourself. And I think as women, we know that our voice is very authentic. And if we follow our instincts and we follow our internal voice, it just helps us in so many other areas of our life, that we need to trust our instincts, but we need to take time to be alone and to reflect on those moments.
No, I agree. So I have a question. So how is because we talked about this too. So how has your idea of beauty changed over the years? So once upon a time, it was probably when you were modeling, it was image-based, more magazine-wise or whatever. Now we're like, I'm not 20 anymore. So my idea of beauty has definitely changed. And when I'm walking around, I see beauty way more than I thought I did in my 20s. So how has your idea of beauty changed?
Beauty for me a lot is when I come interacting with so many women in my role is the energy that they bring, or that, you meet certain women and they walk into a room and you're like, what does she have? It doesn't always mean that external beauty, but there's that peace and that joy that she has. And I find that so attractive. And I find it just so amazing when I look at women and see that confidence in them. And that to me is the ultimate beauty that they're content in their own skin. They're content in their life. They're content, you know, to have a smile on their face and the attitude that they wear. I mean, in my 20s, for sure, it was that, you know, the Kardashian, the look of, you know, the size, that girl who could wear, you know, that amazing dress. But now, you know, as I'm approaching, you know, almost 60, it's that beauty of women when I see their confidence come out. And you can feel it. You can feel the women that are connected to themselves or connected to who they really are. And that to me is the ultimate beauty, when I can see that in action.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. At least it just posted the word is charisma, she says. Yeah, it's like an inner light. So I feel like the industry of beauty should be based on meeting yourself, right? So because of all of us have such a unique beauty, everyone has their own story. Everyone comes from their own path, their own trauma, their own overcomings, their own growth, their own story. You don't walk around seeing someone beautiful. You don't know what they came from, what they overcame. Everybody came, you know, some people see someone's life and they go, I want their life. But you have to have their hardship, their struggle, their everything that made that life. That light that's in them came from everything, good and bad. And so beauty comes from good and bad, right? And that's why everyone, a lot of the supermodels are so uniquely beautiful, because they have those unique qualities that you know. So beautiful, like beauty is such a wide range. You can't just like pack it.
Yeah, you know, I was on a call yesterday with some Salesforce members, and I said to them, you know, oftentimes as women, when we see victory, we only think of the win and how easy it was. We don't understand what went into that victory and the personal growth that that individual had, or the hardship that they had to get there. And I think sometimes we get so hung up on just looking at that utter beauty and making an assumption that it's easier for them, and it's not as easy for us. And I think when you understand what's inside people, it just makes it so much more beautiful.
Like, you don't just wake up and be like, oh, I did this. It doesn't happen that way. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into the success, the win, and there's a lot that people don't see behind like what happens. And when you hear the stories, like Mary Kay, for example. When you hear the stories after, my favorite is in the closing assembly the next day. I never, don't even put makeup on, because you just cry your face off. When they actually, the ladies who win get to tell you their story about the win, you're just like, oh, it's amazing, because you just get to hear a little bit of it, right? And it's the interview after, or the interview after the Academy Awards, or, you know, the speeches after, because you get to hear about the triumph, because it's not just the win, it's the story behind it that's so empowering.
And what I love about women is, you know, we don't do interviews. I often say we do interviews. And when you get into the heart and soul of a woman and really understand what her interview is, the journey that she had, the challenges that she had, because every one of us have them. I mean, mine was just at a young age. I mean, I often say I wouldn't change what happened to me as a child, because it taught me to be strong. It taught me to fight for myself. But those interviews, when you get into the inner soul of a woman, that's when the magic happens, and you really understand what beauty is. You know, beauty rising from the ashes.
Right. It's true. And it's true. If you don't have hardship, you don't know how strong you can be. You don't know what you can overcome. And so it's true, if you don't have those traumas and the abuse and the things, you don't know who you can become in the process. So it's almost like if you take that away, you're not who you are. And
there's a saying that I like. It says, your experience validates your belief. So when you've gone through things, it then validates what you're capable of to move forward. It's like that elastic band. If we don't stretch ourselves, we don't know what we're capable of. You know, I look at it with my son, who, you know, he's had struggles sometimes academically, but then I watch him, and now because he's done it, his experience has now encouraged him, and it's pushed him even further along the road. And we see that all the time in women. You know, they start walking, and then they start to do a bit of jogging. Then they're doing a 5K, and next thing I know, they're doing a half marathon. I mean, it's that experience that validates their belief in themselves.
Right. Yeah. Like, you grow through what you go through. And if you don't have that growth process, if you don't have the growth, you can't become the tree, right? Like, you don't know what you're capable of. It's the tiny little steps that you look back. And I know, I love quotes. I love words. I'm a word person. I always have them all over. But it's true. Like, you need those. Sometimes you have to be like sitting in your quiet moments. You have to actually think back to where you came from and look back at the steps you took and realize, you know what? I'm pretty awesome. I did actually do all that. I've come so far because we don't take that time to appreciate what we have gone through, because sometimes we block it out and we don't think about it, and we don't think about how mean or how hateful or all the things that we have overcome or all the things we did grow through or things that because of that we are who we are.
Exactly. Women are the most amazing creatures to me because we give so much. You know, as certainly as moms, you know, we're willing to put ourselves on the line for our children. We'll do anything we can. And then we have to balance, you know, being wives, mothers, business women, and then still worry about how we look at the end of the day. And they're just amazing creatures in the multitasking. And sometimes I think, you know, women just forget how great they are. And, you know, we talk about that a lot at Mary Kay, which is your deserve level. What do you believe you deserve? And when you raise that deserve level, you start to, you know, because when you're happier and you start to feel that success, that radiates through your family and your children see it. I mean, you know, you've talked about that with your daughter and your children and how, you know, watching you and how you've seen them grow. And that it's just a ripple effect. Women, a happy woman, it really does make a difference in so many people's lives.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you level up, you don't know who's watching you.
Yeah.
Right. It's true. It's definitely true. So we were talking about this in our conversation the other day. So every 10 years, there's an evolution. And it's like everyone says, oh, they don't want us to talk about their age or how old. But I feel like every 10 years, it's a little bit like a new, I feel like I walk a little bit taller. I feel like I've lost a little bit, and like not weight, but weight. Like I feel like you level up. Like I feel more confident every decade I go through, and I'm not quite there, but I'm getting closer to a new decade, and I feel stronger. Do you feel that too? Like as we get older, we're just like it's lighter. We're getting lighter as we get older, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, you go through your 20s and 30s and you think everybody's thinking about you or worried about you or focusing on you. And then you go through your 40s and you can't believe you're in your 40s. And, you know, for me in my 40s, I was mired down. My son's 23 now, but at that point he was, you know, those important years of 10, 11, 12 that I was really focused on him. And then I hit my 50s and, you know, I came into my new role of being general manager, you know, 6 or 7 years ago, which is shocking. My marriage ended at that time. And it was a whole new role of having to find myself and rediscover. And now, I mean, I cannot believe that I'm, you know, turning 58. I'll be, you know, be 60 soon. But with that comes this confidence of knowing who you are. And I still learn things, but it's that I can't please everyone. And when I realized that it was not my responsibility to please everyone, a huge weight became lifted. But what is important is that I remain principled and I can look at myself in the mirror every day and know I did the best job that I could possibly do. Might not always be perfect, might not always please everybody, but I know in my heart that I did the best thing. And you're right, you don't get muddled down or muddy the water of the little things that don't matter, where they say don't sweat the small stuff. As you get older, you focus on what's important and you focus on what's going to make a difference. And I often talk about this in business is, you know, your WIGs. What are the wildly important goals? You know, what are the 2 or 3 things that I can focus on that are going to actually make a difference? And I think that applies so much for women in their lives and what they can focus on. Just, you know, cut out all the noise around you, and that's where meditation becomes important, and focus on what is important to you, and you will go much further. But I really believe that comes with age, and that is one of the blessings of age, is that you learn those things.
It's true, and I feel as also when you're younger, you feel a little bit cocky. You're like, oh, I got this. And I remember like my children are in their late teens now. My mom and one day I was like, oh, it's so hard. My mom said, well, where's the handbook? I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, well, when you had your kids, where's the handbook you got? Because I didn't get one. And I was like, oh. And she's like, yeah, it is hard. And you kind of mess up and whatever. And it made me feel, she's like, she kind of validated it for me, like, it's fine. You're fine. You're doing fine. But she just asked me, like, just straight up, where's your handbook? And I'm like, yeah. What are you talking about? And she's like, I didn't get one. You didn't get one. You're doing fine. And it's true. We feel like we compare too much. And she's like, no one knows what they're doing. You just do the best you can with what you got.
Yeah, and then you learn that all your kids want is spending time with you. Now, maybe not all the time when they're teenagers, but they certainly, you know, I was reflecting on it last night. My son's 23, and we're both big lovers of politics or whatever, but he came down last night. I was out till about 8:30, and then he came down. we just hung out till like 11:30 last night, having fun, talking. You know, they go through that evolution. And even as they're younger, when I traveled a lot for work, and of course I'm not traveling this year, but you know, all my son wanted was time with me. So I took off every single PD day that I could be with him. That was a commitment I made to myself, that I would never miss a PD day with him. And he talks about that. And I said, did you hate when I traveled? He said, no, because we got to go to the zoo and we got to go do this. I just wanted to hang out. And that's a real cool thing. And you learn that it's not about the things your kids have. It's not about all those things. They just really want to be with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's true, right? We do put a lot of pressure and a lot of expectations on ourselves, but at the end of the day, we are enough. And I
think that's what women have to remember. You have to say to yourself, I am enough.
Mm-hmm.
I am enough. I'm good enough. Are we going to learn things and grow along the way? Absolutely. That's part of life. But at the end of the day, you are good enough. You don't have to think about that any different.
Yeah, we're going to make mistakes. We can always get better. We can always improve. There is no perfect. Practice makes progress. Yeah,
exactly.
I agree, 100%. So I really appreciate you being on here today, and I love that you shared your story and that you were so open about talking about abuse and growing through it and not overcoming it, because there is no overcoming. It's a daily battle, it's a daily struggle, and there is no perfect way to become anything. And I love that you're on so many boards and associations. Is there anything about any of these associations specifically you wanted to touch on today, especially the new ones?
You know, the diversity has certainly been something that we're focused on, and you know, certainly with the Black Lives Matter movement, and we want to make sure that as a company, we are focusing and making sure that all voices are being heard, all women of color, that everyone has a voice, and we just want to check ourselves and make sure that we're doing a good job and that we're doing that. So that is something that we're developing internally, and of course, Mary Kay as a corporation has done that as well. I'm incredibly proud of the Look Good Feel Better workshops. I mean, over 60% are volunteers with Mary Kay, but we're out there to help women that are going through the side-related effects of cancer. So certainly if you know of any woman that is going through that, these are wonderful workshops across Canada and around the world that they could find to help these women to feel more confident and secure. And yeah, is it through makeup? Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes a lipstick can just change your view, right? And it can make it different. And, you know, I think my final thing is that for all women is that you have to carve out time for yourself each and every day. And I know that sounds, you're probably sitting there going, yeah, easy for her. But we have to do that. We have to reconnect and refuel ourselves. Know that we're enough. Know that the investment that we put into ourselves will be a payback into our families and into our life. And when we stand united and support each other, you know, women are unstoppable. We see that all the time. And I see that certainly in my role. Women like you, I watch what you do and how amazing you are and how loved you are by your unit members and the representation, the beautiful, you know, MRS.CURVE GLOBE. I mean, you're the most stunning woman I've ever seen. But it's not that. It's that energy that exudes from you. And people can feel that confidence. And we know that you've had to work through it. And just supporting women is the most important thing that we can do. It absolutely makes a difference. But it starts with you first. If you as a woman do not focus and develop yourself, you can't translate that. And just know the grass isn't greener on the other side. There's probably a little bit more fertilizer, and you don't know what that woman has been through.
It's true. Everyone has their own growth process, and you are 100% in charge of your own happiness. You can't leave it up to anybody else because you'll never be happy.
Make a decision each and every day how you're going to approach that day. Some days are better than others, but at least with a positive attitude, it certainly makes a big difference.
Yeah, attitude of gratitude. It's true. And exactly. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And so when we're off the call, if you can post in the comments your social media or where they can find, if you want to share any of the links to any of the Diversity Council, it starts with one, anything that they can follow. If there's any social media, like Instagram or any of the, just they can follow it, and your own, like Mary Kay Canada, any of the posts that you want to share, any of the links that you want to share, please do so. Thank you. You can follow me at ALICIA PLOSZ and at MRS.CURVE GLOBE and here on Mrs. Globe. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day. And you're beautiful, brilliant, and brave, and you can be anything you want to be. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.